You would think that almost 7 years into its life, the Nintendo Switch would be scraping the bottom of the barrel with releases as it tries to make its way to its successor. Well, not even almost kinda. Despite the Switch existing for over a quarter of my life, it had yet another fantastic year. Some might even argue this has been the best year for the Switch. So in this video, I want to talk a bit about my 5 favorite games I played on my Switch this year. The hardest part of making a top 5 list in my opinion is getting that number 5 slot. Trying to decide what great, deserving games get cut out of the top honors is always a challenge, and when going through my list of games beaten this year, I had 3 games vying for that last spot, all of which were RPGs. These 3 games were Sea of Stars, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Future Redeemed, and Octopath Traveler 2. At the end of the day, even though I thought Sea of Stars was a beautiful game with a fantastic story and battle system, and Future Redeemed had some all-time great characters, Matthew being a clear standout, my number 5 Switch Game of the Year is Octopath Traveler 2. Number 5. Octopath Traveler 2. I was a big fan of Octopath Traveler back in 2018 when the original released. Despite it feeling a little disjointed with the 8 separate stories, the battle system and fantastic presentation pulled me over 100 hours through that game to beat every boss, finish every side quest, and even just for the fun of it, grind up my main character to level 99 for another 30 hours. Much to my delight, Octopath Traveler 2 takes that great game I loved and expands upon it, as well as interweaving its 8 brand new stories into each other this time, making for an altogether more meaningful story experience. Seeing one character I liked talk about their journey to another, learning about their similarities and their struggles and helping each other to a common goal was awesome, and it really helped me maintain interest in character stories along the way. In the first game, it was like having 8 sample-sized ice cream cups to try each one at a time, but in the sequel, all the ice cream is in one bowl, and you get to have some interesting mixtures that are greater than the sum of their parts. What I'm trying to say is, I really like Neapolitan ice cream. The turn-based battles of Octopath 2 still use that fantastic break mechanic from the original, where all enemies have type weaknesses you can exploit in order to cancel out their turns and do big damage. This game also adds the latent power meter, which gives each character just a little bit more to set themselves apart in battle, whether that be doing big damage or having really helpful support skills. If you've looked at this video for any amount of time, it should be evident that Octopath 2 has a very striking, gorgeous HD 2D art style and really great effects, making the battle moves pop just that much more. The music stands out too, with almost every trap being an absolute banger. Ambient overworld themes help you settle in the environment, enjoy the scenery, and the intense battle music will make you want to jump in there and start swinging a sword yourself. Fantastic game. I really hope it does well enough to see an Octopath 3 here in a few years. Number 4. Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Alright, I like Mario games. It's embarrassing to admit, but it's true. Mario can do no wrong in my eyes, especially when he's equipped with a water-powered backpack robot and a severely over-criticized 3D platformer. However, I will say, despite me enjoying or downright loving pretty much every Mario game, the recent 2D games have not increased my love for that man. My statue of him does that. The last 4 or 5 games in the new series really never grabbed my attention. They were the most watered down view of Mario imaginable, even if they were still structurally sound platformers. Well, luckily, in Mario Wonder, Nintendo decided to pivot a bit and try to spice things up a little bit. Presentation was a super important nail Nintendo needed to hammer in with this game, as myself and many other fans were clearly getting bored with the new series. Just looking at these games makes my eyes want to glaze over. At its core, Wonder still follows that familiar 2D Mario formula. Mario feels like Mario, jumps like Mario, looks like Mario, all that. But Wonder really excels with that added detail and heart put into its presentation. The way Mario animates when he jumps and the sound effects that go with it are so finely tuned that it makes it feel so good, even if it's something you've been doing for your whole life. The bright colors really make the levels shine, and the music, while maybe slightly on the forgettable side in my opinion for a Mario game, does a great job setting the mood and atmosphere of each level as you run through it. The Wonder Seed mechanic always felt like a treat. Even if I knew each level was going to have one, it was still interesting to see what weird twist they would cook up for that level. The badge mechanic allowed for a lot of player expression, allowing you to alter the way you jump, change the ways you stay in the air for a little bit longer or safer, and allow you to find hidden collectibles easier, etc., etc. Also, if you want to keep the game as pure as possible, you don't have to use these badges, but I thought they were lots of fun. I do have a couple of nitpicks for the game, however. While I understand mechanically why it makes sense to have all the characters run the same speed and jump the same height, I would have enjoyed it if there's a little bit more unique characteristics a la Super Mario Bros. 2, or by its more widely known name of Doki Doki Panic, where each character has a different jump height and speed and so on. I would have had a little bit more reason to go back and try levels in new ways if Luigi's jumped higher than Mario, or if Toad ran super duper fast, for example. I guess the badges kind of fill in this role a bit, but I don't know. I still think it would have liked some different character uniqueness. The power-ups were fun, but not overly memorable other than how goofy Elephant Mario looked. And with only 4 power-ups, I wasn't super excited to get another bubble or another drill power-up whenever they showed up. I would have liked to see a little bit more variety. But overall, Mario Wonder was a wonderful game that I enjoyed a whole heck of a lot, and it has me excited that Nintendo's on the right path again for making interesting 2D Mario games, easily deserving of number 4 on this list. Number 3, Fire Emblem Engage. It's hard to believe it, but almost 11 months ago, Fire Emblem Engage came out. It's been a long year with lots of games having the chance to cover that game up, but it's still a game I remember fondly and one that I'm genuinely had a really good time with. For some context, Fire Emblem might be my favorite video game series, period, so I'm a little prone to some bias here. Engage did not make near the splash that Three Houses made a few years back, and I'm not here to try and say it should have, but it's still a really good game. The biggest complaint I have with Engage really comes down to its completely nonsensical story and one-note characters. There were a couple times in my playthrough where I actually laughed out loud at the game when it was trying to make for a meaningful story payoff moment. The characters all were a little over the top of their designs, which maybe was a little fun at times, but more often than not just made for a very unserious game. Despite all that, the actual playing of the game, the actual tactics gameplay on the grid, the speccing out characters and utilizing skills and abilities, was the best it's ever been in my opinion. I'm a big-brained, capital G gamer, so I played the game on its highest difficulty, Maddening mode, on my first run, and even though I ended each play session exhausted, and the run took like 130 hours or something, in reality I was loving every second of it. I would spend sometimes 20 to 30 minutes on one turn trying to find the best possible way to get through each unknown obstacle, and it felt so damn good to pull off that perfect series of choices to get the other side without losing any of my units. I loved seeing all of my favorite characters from past games, even if it was clearly a fan-servicey nostalgia grab. That can still work from time to time. Playing through remixed versions of old maps and hearing the music I love from past games really struck a chord with me, and I'm glad I was there. I haven't gotten around to finishing all the DLC yet, but once I have some downtime, I'm excited to have the excuse to jump back into this dumb game and have a good time. Number 2. Pikmin IV. Pikmin 4 is a game I was not sure I was going to play this year. I had never played Pikmin before, and I had never liked Olimar and Smash, so I really had low interest in the series. I'd heard good things though, but maybe this was just going to be one of those games in those series that I never needed to get around to trying. But this time, the stars aligned and Pikmin 4 came out just at the right time between other games I was playing. It got good review scores, and now all of a sudden, I'm a fan of the series and I want to play all the games. The whole goal of Pikmin 4 is to find the missing Captain Olimar. You play as a customizable character who is a member of the Rescue Corps, and you explore this planet that seems a whole lot like Earth. You need to gather items to increase the Sparkium on your ship, allowing you to explore more areas to find this little astronaut weirdo. To obtain these items, you'll need the help of the local fauna, or maybe their flora, called Pikmin. Even though these guys are meant to be disposable and replaceable, I would die for even a single one of these little fellas. Maybe not the red ones, I kind of use them as cannon fodder a lot. But the other ones were all my babies. The loop in this game is really sticky. You have about 15 minutes real-life time to explore for one in-game day. You basically spend the days collecting collectibles to get more Sparkium while gathering new Pikmin and killing the big bad bud monsters, all while exploring deeper into each area, finding new camp spots, and exploring the caves found. Everything is tied to a percent complete for the area, so you're constantly seeing progress, and that is what really got me. Seeing numbers go up and checking boxes are a quick and easy way to capture me, and this game does a dang good job of it. You even get gold stars when you complete something. The game really wants to convince you to use Dondori, which is basically explained as planning out your choices to be efficient and multitasking to get lots of done in a short, efficient use of time. This thought process really made for some fun challenge, trying to get as much done in as little days as possible, but if that isn't your style and you just want to relax and make progress at your own rate, the game won't really punish you for doing that other than being a little more tedious having to go back to the base at night more. Speaking of nighttime, Pikmin IV has a sort of survival-y mode that takes place only at night, where you have to protect a mound or couple of mounds of glow Pikmin from the onslaught of difficult monsters coming from different directions. Overall, this part of the game was pretty easy in my opinion, but did a really good job of breaking up the gameplay loop a bit if you wanted a break from exploring. Pikmin was a satisfying experience and I'm extremely glad I gave a go. I loved the world and all its charm, the relaxing music and scenery was always nice to be around, and I really liked all the funny real-world items my little weird astronaut had brought back to his ship to save the day. We'll be playing the other 3 games for sure after this one. My number 1 Nintendo game of 2023 is a pretty obvious one. It's the one you probably expect it to be. It's a game that was so anticipated, hearing the music to open up its trailer sent people into a frenzy. It's a follow-up to one of, if not the most important games on the Switch, maybe one of the most important games to come out in the last 10 years or so. So without further ado, let's talk about WarioWare Move It. WarioWare Move It is a motion-based game, which is a real fun change of pace. Sometimes it's just nice to get up and move around and get that heart going. And you know what else gets that heart going? It's another game that didn't quite make the list, but I guess I'll talk about it anyway. It's The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. In all seriousness, Tears of the Kingdom is such a clear, faraway number 1 for me this year. I know it's the boring answer, but I think it's the right answer. The build-up to this game was so intense, I was not sure if I'd be satisfied with it. There was just too much hype and too high of expectations. Breath of the Wild was a top 5 game of all time for me. It's going to take something special to follow that. Notice I said Breath of the Wild was a top 5 for me. That's because I liked Tears of the Kingdom so much that it kind of made Breath of the Wild seem like so much less than me. Tears of the Kingdom takes that big, beautiful game and stretches it in all directions while somehow making that world it stretched feel more full and exciting to explore. Re-exploring old areas of Hyrule was so exciting, going to see what has changed and what new surprises there were to uncover. That's not even my main priority, because now there's this whole sky portion of the map I want to screw around in. Exploring the skies with all the stupid little vehicles I made was something special, and looking down the world I spent hundreds of hours in from the skies was really neat to see. The surface of Hyrule is also above the new Depths area, which is kind of like the dark world of this game. It's dark, damp, and scary down there, but there's lots of good resources to collect and secrets to uncover. The game is a really good loop of me wanting to explore the sky, but I needed materials to build the vehicles to do so I go underground to get the materials, but then I need to go to the surface to get rocks to make the tools to break the ore underground, and then while I'm on the surface looking for rocks, I find a weird landmark, and then that landmark brings me on some other quest, but now I've forgotten what I was doing there earlier. That's fine, because now I'm doing a shrine I found. Okay, now I remember I was in the sky trying to get to this platform for a chest. Okay, now that chest had a map for something in the depths, let's go check that out. Now it's 3:30 in the morning, and it's a Tuesday, so I really should be in bed because I have to wake up in 3 hours for work, and then I did that again on Wednesday, and then I did it again on Thursday, and so on until I did everything. Tears of the Kingdom was such a great experience. It is easily my favorite Nintendo Switch game of the year. Thanks for watching. This was a tough list to make, but I was happy to be able to talk about some more of these games. In years past, I've done a top 5 games of the year across all platforms. This was an especially good year for Nintendo. I feel like I ought to just do one for the Switch. I do plan and hope to get a top 10 video including games from other platforms out pretty soon. This year had a lot of great games, and I'm excited to talk about all the other ones outside of the ones that I just play on the Switch. If you enjoyed this video and want to keep a lookout for the next one, consider subscribing. It would mean a lot, and hopefully more videos in the future will be of your liking as well. Thanks again for watching, and see you next time.